Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Saha Viryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Samasta Jana Kalyani Niratam Karunamayam Namami Chinmayam Devam Satgurum Brahma Vidwaram Satgurum Brahma Vidwaram. Om Apyayantu Mamangani Vak Pranas Chakshushrotраmatho Balamindriyani Cha Sarvani Sarvam Brahma Upanishadam Maham Brahma Nirakuryam Ma Brahma Nirakarot Anirakaranamastu Anirakaranam me astu Tadatmani nirateya upanishatsu dharmaha te mayi santu Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. All of you must have heard the story about a disciple going to a teacher and saying, teach me the supreme most secret. Rahasya, you tell me. And the teacher tells him, Om. And he thinks, what is so great about Om? Everybody knows Om. I thought teacher will tell me something which nobody else knows. He has told only me, not told anybody else. But then to make him appreciate the meaning of things that is available to us, which we take for granted, if we don't know the depth of it, he gives a small jewel and tells him, take this to different people. So first he goes to a vegetable seller. So he says, oh, this stone, I'll probably give you a few vegetables. He says, only vegetables for this stone? He also does not know. The student also does not know what that gem is. He says, okay, take some more. Some other vegetable also I will put. You can take that and go. Then he goes to another person. This story is there in Upanishad Ganga. He goes to another person who is probably a cotton merchant. He says, you can take much more in terms of weight than this stone. That stone is hardly a few grams. I'll give you 2-3 kilograms of cotton. Like this, he goes to different people. And finally, he comes to that diamond merchant. And he tells him, first you tell me who gave you this thing. He says, my teacher gave me. I just brought it. He says, this is belonging to some king. He must have given to your teacher and he has given you this. Don't even go and sell it outside. It is much more precious than any value you can get from the world. So he goes back and the teacher says, this is precisely what happens with different things in spiritual path and in particular Omkar. Some practice which is so deep, so profound, which is available to us. It's only a matter of appreciating the depth and doing it sincerely. There are different steps, if you noted. The first one was in the meditation, the first one was only sound. And that also has its own power. It has its own effect. We don't have to worry about the technicalities, the meaning of it. Just keep chanting the sound in such a way, it becomes Sajatiya Vritti Pravaha. Sajatiya means of the same kind, Vritti means thought, Pravaha means flow. That itself, our mind is not used to. To have one kind of thought for an extended period of time, it needs practice, it needs effort. But superior to that, superior in the sense more deeper than that, is to chant by knowing the meaning. To chant Omkara by knowing the meaning of Omkara. So in Patanjali Yoga Sutra, there is one sutra which says, Tasya Vachakaha Pranavaha. So Patanjali Maharshi describes the nature of Bhagwan. And after describing, he says, the word that indicates Bhagwan is Om. So whatever bhavana I have towards my Lord, the same bhavana I should bring while chanting Om. So that is one level, one notch higher in terms of quietening the mind. Just repeating over and over again, just sound has that power to quieten. Sound plus meaning, the grace of the Lord has the power to quieten. Because Bhagwan has entered now. It is not only a sound. That Om represents, in Vedanta Sara language, Ajnana Upahita Chaitanya. Bhagwan, with the conditioning of this cosmic totality, that is my Bhagwan, in whom this entire creation is appearing, it is running, and so on. Third step is to shift attention to Nirguna. So in between the Oms, the silence which is there, he says that is the Amatra. So whatever Lakshanas I have learnt about Brahma, those Lakshanas should fit into the silence. Fit into means what? When I am observing the silence, I should not observe it just like absence of sound. That silence represents Brahma Lakshana in that way. So whatever we have learnt about Brahma Lakshana, Akarta, Abhokta, Jagat Karanam, says that Brahma is a silence. And if Mahavakya has become clear, you say that Brahma I am. It's a holistic meditation practice, starting from quietening the mind all the way until Mahavakya Vichara. That's why Yamacharya tells Nachiketa, you just focus on Om, you will get everything. Saguna also you will get, Nirguna, Jnanam also one will get. Okay. Now we had seen in the last session the three reasons behind the story of Yaksha which had come. The first reason was to show that this spiritual knowledge, Vedanta knowledge, is very subtle. Just by listening, one will not see the result of this knowledge in our life. Having listened to it, I should be able to reflect upon it. I should be able to tune my mind with the qualifications of a student of Vedanta. And for that, I have to put more effort. That is why this whole story of Yaksha was mentioned. Story you remember, right? We don't have to recap the story. Second was, all these qualifications like Shama, all of them are very, very important. Even if it is not asked for in the beginning, it will be asked for in the end. Some shows, you go, they don't ask for ticket in the beginning. They say, come. Some performance is going on, you sit and listen. But towards the end, when you exit, they will ask. Vedanta is sometimes like that. In the beginning, they say, Sadhana Chatushtaya is okay. You just come and listen. Everything will come in time. But at some point, the sadhaka starts feeling, what was promised, I am not seeing it yet. So then again, it is said, Abhimana, the pride which we have about anything of this world, that will become an obstacle. Most importantly, it will not allow me to do thorough Shravanam. It will be all colored with our own lens of Ragadveshas. So that is the second reason why this teaching has come. Third one is how important it is to worship Saguna Brahma. This is what we had started last time. That although Upasana was negated, Upasana was said, Nedam Yadidam Upasate, this sadhaka very quickly realizes, without devotion, I am unable to digest this knowledge. Without devotion, he says, I am unable to benefit from this knowledge. I am unable to digest Vedanta Siddhanta. Means mind should be able to single-pointedly surrender to Vedanta without having any other concerns, because those concerns are already taken care by devotion. So this is his firm conviction And this is the balam actually that we were seeing yesterday. One balam is physical balam, sharirika balam. Second balam is buddhi balam. Buddhi balam means the worldly intelligence that we have. Or even in Shastra, being able to understand scriptures. One needs buddhi for that. Even if these two are there, without Daiva balam, buddhi balam and sharira balam, they are not very helpful. The fourth balam was jnana balam. The Mahavakya Janya Jnanam, that has its own power. Atmana vindate viryam, vidyaya vindate amrutam. So viryam which is there, that power also comes through Mahavakya. But for me to benefit from that Mahavakya, meaning when there are different situations, different experiences that come, to hold on to this jnanam, what we sometimes say as applied Vedanta. We hear this, right? I have heard Vedanta, but my difficulty is sometimes in applying it. This is that application of Vedanta will come from Daiva balam. Jnana balam is already there. That sadhaka also says, I know how I am Brahma. I know which Upanishad says I am Brahma. How to understand mantras. Everything he does. But if Daiva balam is not there, Saguna Upasana balam is not there, then Jnana balam is very hard to benefit from. To explain this point, now this story of Yaksha is brought. So Bhagavan takes a slight detour from this point. He says, before you do Saguna Upasana or Saguna Brahma, trying to appreciate what is the nature of Saguna Brahma. To do Siddhi of Saguna Brahma. Siddhi means what? To establish. But one thing we should remember, Bhagavan is always or already established. It is not that because we are logically proving it, then only Bhagavan will be established. And by mistake, our logic goes here and there. Or if somebody comes with more stronger logic, doesn't mean that Bhagavan will be unestablished. The whole point is, see, Vedanta says, Bhagavan in true essence is Shuddha Chaitanya. Shuddha Chaitanya is ever Siddha. It is in the light of that Chaitanya alone, everything else becomes Siddha. Right? Only when Chaitanya is there, you can even say Aham first. Only when I am there, world is there. So we don't have to do Siddhi of Ishvara. In the light of Ishvara alone, entire creation becomes Siddha. But what Siddhi are we doing here? This is just like this Nirguna Brahma can wear one mask to become a Jiva. That same Nirguna Brahma can wear another mask to become Ishvara. If you wear Jiva's mask and say, I'm having difficulty accepting Ishvara, or if you say Jiva is there and Ishvara is not there, then Bhagavan is refuting all those notions. He says, how can you say that Karta is there, but Karma Phaladata is not there? Okay, so that is the main idea here. We are not doing Siddhi of Bhagavan in that sense. That if we establish, then only Bhagavan is established. Okay, so with that chain of thought, again we'll come back to this point. Bhagavan mentioned few very important factors or his own bhavana towards the Lord. How does Bhagavan express his devotion? He says, Ishwarechaya trunamapi vajri bhavati iti upapadyate. Means if that all-pervading Lord, all-powerful Lord wants something, if his heart is melted, whatever is impossible, even that can become possible. This we had seen in Bhajagovindam, Bhagavad Gita class also. Hanuman Chalisa also we saw. First step is bhajan. That bhajan brings krupa. There are 6 steps after that. But first step was bhajan of the Lord. This comes in Ramcharitmanas. Goswamiji says, if somebody can fervently pray to the Lord, that prayer has the ability to melt Bhagwan's heart, and that will bring his krupa. That krupa makes us realize his power, prabhuta jnanam. That prabhuta jnanam brings vishwasa, means again and again when he goes back to the Lord, sees his prayers getting answered. That brings some kind of conviction in the presence of Bhagwan. And more or less, devotion is formed through this route only. We never study Ishvara Siddhi Prakaranam and then start believing in Bhagwan's presence. Right? We have prayed and those prayers have been answered. And wherever they have been answered, in that altar we go more often. Right? People go to so many temples, Tirupati, Vaishnavi Devi, Trilinga Shabda. All places where they are going, what is the main pull? That sadhaka has tasted some kind of divine grace where his prayers have been answered. So with this, Vishwasa brings love towards the Lord, prema, and that prema brings Drudha Bhakti. That bhakti which does not keep shaking, keep wavering. But this line, we should keep reflecting over and over again. Ishwar echhaya trunam api vajri bhavati iti upapadyate. All these lines are like that. They are Bhagwan's conviction. And if we say we are students of Bhagwan Shankaracharya ji, we should align our idea with Bhagwan's conviction. And then he said, how do we prove existence of such Bhagwan? Simple logic was given. Tat siddhihi jagataha niyata pravrittehe. Just look at this entire jagat and first of all see the variety in this jagat. He started with Deva, Yaksha, all other devatas who are there. So many jivas are there. And this jagat is an infrastructure for all the jivas to experience their karma phalas. Now, if there is any creation, it should have a creator. You cannot say there is creation, but there was no creator. Simple things. You remember that rose example, right? If roses have fallen away, now that is not creation, it is destruction. But even there, you needed some person to have done that. Right? Some painting is there, some artwork is there. Now Golu has been set up. You can't say randomly it got set up one day. There was somebody who went, some Chaitanya was there, which went and put this whole thing in order. So in the same way, he says when creation is seen, there has to be a creator. But just look at the variety of creation and see whether Jiva could be the creator. That is his point. He says just look at the variety, look at the complexity of creation and see whether one individual can design such a thing. If Jiva cannot do it, then it has to be Ishvara. So Siddhi, the presence of Bhagwan, Siddhi of Bhagwan, he says first it is done by Niyata Pravritti of Jagat. Not only there is variety, but there is also a systematic order in this creation. Okay. And we had seen examples. What we feel it is random, actually there are laws behind it. Right? Like this dam, we just feel water is gushing out, but there are laws of physics behind it. Ants which are there, they are just moving around. Means our intellect, if it is unable to figure out logic, unable to pinpoint a cause, we cannot say it is random. Even in the worldly examples, we see this, right? So whole creation, it looks chaotic, but it is said there is Niyata Pravritti. Niyata Pravritti means systematic order is there, and that order is based upon karma. Okay. Last one was Etad bhoktru karma vibhagajna prayatna purvakam bhavitum arhati. In this whole systematic creation plan which is there behind this creation, there has to be a planner. There has to be somebody who is taking care of each and every details of this creation. Okay. So all stutis that we see, all bhajans by great devotees, they will echo the same idea in very simple words. When Bhagwan, this creation belongs to you, please make sure that I come to recognize your power. Okay. Now, there is one Purva Paksha. So PP means Purva Paksha. When you look at this slide, don't get confused. What are these acronyms? Okay, Purva Paksha is that. He says, Purva Paksha means opponent. So this Purva Paksha says, why can't we say that diversity in this world is because of karma only? Karma only, huh? He says karma alone is capable of doing this niyata pravrutti. What did Bhagwan Shankaracharya say? Tasya siddhi jagatah niyata pravrutte. Tasya means Ishwarasya siddhi. He says you don't need another Ishwara. Whatever karmas jivas are doing, those karmas alone will bring out this diversity, and they alone will make sure that everything is in order. Why do you need another Ishwara in addition to these karmas? Now, which darshana is this? Purvamimamsaka. Purvamimamsaka darshana says, you remember the story, right, from Upadesha Sara? The rishis were there, they were doing tapasya, and they started feeling that whatever karmas we do, they only give results. Why need anybody else? Then Lord Shiva comes, Lord Vishnu also comes, both of them. They delude all the rishis and they make them realize the impermanence of karma. That how quickly our mind can get changed. So there has to be somebody else, who is much more superior, who is taking care of all karma phalas. That's why the first verse of Upadesha Sara is Kartuhu ajnaya prapyate phalam karma kim param karma tajjadam. But the background of that is this. There were some ritualists who were doing karma, and they said, we don't need any Bhagwan. Only this karma is sufficient to give result. That karma alone can take care of this whole creation. So now Bhagwan is going to present that Purva Paksha and refute it. So what does the Purva Paksha say? That we will understand first. Now they are not indulgent people. They are also great thinkers. They also believe in doing all rituals, doing all sadhanas. So they say, okay, whatever rituals you are doing, right? Japa, prayers, or helping somebody, even that is a good act. Okay. So they say action or karma is done by the karta. Karta means the person who is doing it. That person does different karmas. Some are spiritual karmas in the sense of sadhanas. But even during his day-to-day transactions, he lives a good dharmic life. Now those karmas, they say, form something called as apurva. This is a Purvamimamsaka term, very technical. Wherever there is vidhi, vidhi means injunction, and wherever there is nisheda, nisheda means wherever there is a injunction to not do something. Vidhi means to do something, injunction. Nisheda means to not do something. Wherever there is vidhi nisheda, such type of actions are technically defined as karma. If I just, what do they say? Skipping rocks. You just take a rock and skip them on water. No, that is not karma. That is not having any vidhi nisheda. So that will also not produce any apurva. Apurva means that action of mine is going to bring some results in the future. One action I do, it has immediate result, drushta phala. But that action also has adrushta phala. Adrushta means that which will come at a later point. They say that adrushta phala is this apurva. And what is apurva? How does it get formed? Only by those actions which have vidhi nisheda, where there is an injunction to do something or there is an injunction to not do something. Okay. Now that is why Purvamimamsaka, they are so strict on Vedas, because Vedas are filled with vidhi nisheda. So anything you tell them, the first thing they ask is it said in Vedas? If it is not, then they say it is not, something that we are interested in. But simple words, we can understand apurva like this. Those actions which you have done with Vidhi Nisheda by Vedas, they will give results at a later point of time. That is called as apurva. Now Purvamimamsaka says, this apurva alone is capable of bringing all diversity. You do some action that has gotten stored as apurva, that apurva presents as this whole creation. That apurva brings all experiences. Niyata pravrutti of Jagat can happen through apurva only. Why do you need Ishvara separate from apurva? And you only say in Vedanta in so many places, Jo jasa karai, so tasa phala chakha. The whatever karma a person does, the same karma, the same results he will experience. So why do you unnecessarily introduce another entity called as Ishvara? Okay, now see what Bhagavan will say. First, let us just simply understand this, then Bhashya is very easy. Bhagavan says, I agree with you. Partially. We don't dismiss the fact that karma brings diversity. We also don't dismiss the fact that karma is responsible in niyata pravrutti of Jagat. But what we say is, karma alone cannot do that thing. There is a difference. To say karma alone does everything, and to say karma is one of the factors in accomplishing those things. Now, why does he say that? That example is, or that point is clarified here. So Bhagavan says, your first point is valid. What is that point? That karma is dependent on karta. Whatever actions you do, those actions, where do they live? They are done by karta. The karma itself starts by taking support of karta. This is a very important point. Although it looks very simple. He says karma doesn't live in thin air. Karma will always seek shelter in karta. Now what that means is, after the action is done, that karma also ends. After that action is done, that karma ends right then and there. Why? Because it has to take support of karta. So if you do japa sadhana, after japa is done, that karma of japa has come to an end. So far so good. He says, okay, that apurva, what you say, we also accept. Vedanta says, apurva, we also accept. But we say that apurva also lives taking support of karta. Means Chaitanya has to be there for that apurva to even function. Why? Because karma is inert, apurva is also inert. Apurva is an inert thing, it is not another sentient entity. So whatever results it is giving, it has to take support of karta, and then only it can give the results. Okay, so now Bhagavan says, now again look at this creation. He says there is so much of diversity, but pay attention to that diversity. There are results that we are getting of karmas which were done 10 years before. There are results which you are getting of karma which was done in some other place. Now, if karma itself could decide, how can inert karma go and find its karta? If you say karma phala comes by karma alone, he says you did one karma 10 years ago, you did one karma in some other location. How did that inert karma come and find this karta? Where did that karma stay in between? In between the duration of your karma and karma phala, where did it stay? And it is our own anubhava that there are so many karma phalas we get, even if it is unpleasant karma phala. We say, I was saved by a fraction of a second. Something has to fall down. It could have fallen anywhere. right? It fell right next to me. As I was saved by some divine grace. Or sometimes, some good anubhava comes. Somebody randomly comes to help you somewhere, and you have no clue where that person came. So this result, I don't have any immediate precedence to say which karma I had done, because of which I got this, good anubhava. So Bhagwan is asking that person, result you got, right? So how do you explain that some karma which was done in some another place, that is going to bring this result at a different place? So that is his point. Karma alone cannot give results. Karma alone cannot decide which karma phala you have to get. It needs a sentient entity which keeps track of all the karmas done at different times, different places, even different janmas. That is something which we ourselves cannot do, neither can karma by itself do. Okay. So what is the main point here? Because karma phala comes at a different time, at a different place, karma alone cannot decide that karma phala. There has to be a sentient entity which decides which karma phala should come, at what time, at which place. Now somebody can say, why do you have to say that karma phala and karma are related? Why do you have to say karma phala and karta are related? Can't it be random? So that point will come back later. Because even here there are questions. Because somebody might say, I am getting this good result, right? Somebody is helping me randomly. They say that itself is random. Means just out of chance, somebody had a good feeling and they came and helped me. Why do you have to put so much effort into thinking karma, which karma did it, how did it come at this point? So basically what they're denying is all experiences that are coming to us as karma phala, they are random. So we'll take that point later. Now let us just look at Bhashya. It's very easy. Okay. But this point we should pay more attention to, not technically, but just in our own anubhava. That whichever karma phala has come, even there, if a devotee is alert, they see grace of Bhagwan. If I had to fall sick sometime, some fever is there or whatever was there, I feel I fell ill, no doubt, but I also had support. People were at home, they could take care. So like this, when he starts thinking, he has to think more about who is taking care of all these connections. That is our mananam actually. Technical part, we can refute other darshana and all, but this part we have to think about it more. Karmana eva iti chet na paratantrasya nimittamatratvat yadidam upabhogavaichityam praninam tat sadhanavaichityam cha deshakala nimitta anurupa niyata pravrutti nivrutti kramam cha tanna nitya sarvajna kartrukam kim tarhi karmana eva tasya achintya prabhavatvat sarvaischa phalhetutva abhyupagamacha. Now this part is very simple. Whatever we saw in the last slide, same thing Bhagwan is, or whatever Bhagwan has said, we had seen in the previous slide. This is karmana eva iti chet. The Purva Paksha is asking, what if all this diversity and niyata pravritti, everything is by karma only? Why do you need another Ishvara? He says, no, paratantrasya. Karma is not independent, it depends upon karta first of all. Nimitta matratvat. So we don't deny karma, we say karma is only a nimitta. Nimitta means it's a contributing factor. It is not the only factor, it's a contributing factor. Yadidam upabhoga vaichitryam. Whatever this world is there, which has this diverse, upabhoga. Now this again is Purva Paksha. After this Paratantrasya Nimitra Matratvat, this Purva Paksha felt Bhagwan has not understood me. Sometimes when you don't finish your point, another person already gives verdict. You explain again. You say, no, you didn't get me, what I was saying. He again tries to explain. You see what he says. Yadidam upabhoga vaichitryam praninam tat sadhana vaichitryam. You define the world as infrastructure for all jivas to experience karma phala. All of that vaichitrya and the appropriate sadhana for jivas to experience that vaichitrya, desha kala nimitta anurupa. According to desha, according to kala, nimitta anurupa. They are getting all of these things. Niyata pravritti nivritti kramamcha. And the pravritti and nivritti, whatever has to happen in this creation, all of that, nitya sarvajna kartrukam tanna. This is how to read it. All of this variety and the functioning of creation that is done by Ishvara, one should not say like that. Who is telling this? Purva Paksha. That's why it's important to know who is Purva Paksha. If you just miss this point, or if you don't pay attention to Tanna, if you don't know Anunasika Sandhi, then you will say Tanna is a small word, let us leave it. And you will read this whole portion as Siddhanti. Okay. So Nitya Sarvajna Kartrukam Tanna. He is saying Tat na, it is not like that. You don't need Ishvara. Kim tarhi, what is your alternative? He says Karmanaha eva. By karma alone, everything is accomplished. Why? Tasya achintya prabhavat. Achintya prabhavatvat. Achintya prabhava means, in the slide, what did you see? That cloud. Apurva. That word was apurva, right? He says that apurva is this achintya prabhava. Every karma that you do, it not only gives drishta phala, but it also has adrushta phala. And this apurva is there, which has stored the impressions of all karmas, and that apurva alone will give all the results. Achintya prabhavatvat sarvaischa phala hetutva abhyupagamacha. Sarvaischa means all darshanas have accepted that karma alone is responsible for giving the results of actions. Phala hetutva abhyupagamacha means darshanas, all other darshanas, they have accepted this. He says, okay, and he even quotes Ramcharitmanas. This is that part when Bharatji, he is going to Chitrakoot along with his entire army. Indra Bhagwan gets very jealous and he tries to disturb Bharatji's yatra to Chitrakoot. Brahaspati ji gets very angry at Indra and he says, you don't know the power of the Lord. He is very, very compassionate, but because of his devotees, he can even take sides. Devotee like Bharatji is there, don't mess with him, let him just go on his journey. And there he writes this line, Karma pradhana vishwakari rakha, jo jasa kare to tasa phala chaka. Vishwakari rakha, how does he protect the world? He protects it through this karma. Vishwasya karta, bhuvanasya gopta. But there, this indicator is for Chaitanya. In Mundaka Upanishad, when this Shruti mantra comes, it is not saying only karma does protection of this creation. It says karma phala data does the protection of creation. Because karmas themselves are inert, what we saw just now, right? So if somebody has done good work, to give result of that good work, Bhagwan says that is my responsibility. You don't worry, Arjuna, your adhikara is in karma. My adhikara or my role is in karma phala. So sarvaischa phala hetutvat. Now until this point is Purva Paksha. Now Bhagwan again answers, or Purvapaksha continues slightly further. Sati karmanaha phalhetutve kim ishwaradhika kalpanayeti na nityasya ishwarasya nitya sarvajna shaktehe phalhetutvam cha iti chet na karmanah eva उपभोगवैचित्र्यादि उपपद्यते कस्मात् कर्तृतन्त्रत्वात् कर्मणः चितिमत् प्रयत्न निर्वृत्तं हि कर्म तत्प्रयत्न उपरमात् उपरतं सद्देशान्तरे कालान्तरे वा नियत निमित्त विशेषापेक्षं कर्तुः फलं जनयिष्यतीति न युक्तम् अनपेक्ष अन्यद् आत्मनः प्रयोक्तृ. Now this Purvapaksha says there are a lot of problems if you bring Bhagwan into the picture. He says, what is that? Sati karmanaha phala hetutve. Kim ishwaradhika kalpanaya iti. He says, if karmas can take care of everything, why unnecessarily introduce Bhagwan? Na nityasya ishwarasya nitya sarvajna shaktehe phala hetutvam chaiti. That Bhagwan who is nitya sarvajna, who is ever all-knowing and ever all-powerful, why will he take sides and give karma phalas? There is something called as Vaishamya dosha. Vaishamya dosha means being partial. And if there are results which are not what we want, that is called as Nairgrunya dosha. Why would Bhagwan, who is all compassionate, give such kind of results? Now what is he interpreting? He says, according to Vedanta, only Bhagwan is capable or only Bhagwan is responsible for karma phala. He is conveniently ignoring this point that Vedanta says both are important. Karmas are also there and sentient principle is also there which will give karma phala. That point is ignoring. He says if you only take Ishvara as karma phala data, he says Bhagwan will get Vaishamya dosha and Nairgrunya dosha. So Bhagwan responds, he says, na. So the green one is answer. Bhagwan Shankaracharya says, na. Karmanah eva upabhoga vaichitriadi upapadyate. You cannot say that by karma only this entire vaichitra, diversity is formed in this creation. Why? Why do you say that? Kasmat. Kartrutantatvat karmanah. What he wants to prove here is, karma is not independent. Karma takes support of karta to survive first. Karma is born only when karta is there. So it is not independent to decide results of action. It doesn't have sentiency of its own. So he says karma is inert. It takes support of karta to thrive. Now this is an important word. Chitimat prayatna nirvruttam. Chitimat means sentient entity. This karta who is there, he is chitimat. Like how you say buddhiman, right? That matu pratyaya is to indicate he is full of buddhi. So chitimat means one who is endowed with sentiency. That chaitanya or that karta who is there, by his effort alone, karma is produced. Chitimat prayatna nirvruttam hi karma. Tat prayatna uparamat. Once that karma ends, or once his prayatna ends, you see the precision. He says tat prayatna uparamat. Once the effort ends, uparatam karma. That karma also ends. Now something which thrived based on karta's support, something which started with karta's effort, something which ends with karta's effort, what are you saying? that karma is intelligent to give result of action in a different place at a different time. He says, how is that possible? Sad deshantare kalantare va niyata nimitta vishesha apeksham kartuhu phalam janeshyati. This karma alone will give result somewhere else without the need for any other Ishvara. That idea itself is not possible. Na yuktam anyad atmanah prayoktru anapeksham. Means without taking into account some other prayoktru, some other entity which is giving this result of action, just to say that karma alone will take care of everything, he says that is not logically possible. Note all the 3 points. He says karma is dependent on karta. Then chitimat prayatna nivrittam. Karma starts because of efforts of karta. And when karta stops efforts, he says karma also stops. That is the reality of karma. More than that, it doesn't have any kind of intelligence of its own. So karma alone cannot give results in some another place at some different time. Okay. Now the point that we had just discussed earlier. Okay, sometimes whenever we discuss karma siddhanta, right, few fundamentals we should keep in mind. It is helpful for our sadhana and even for thinking about the connection between karma phala, karta and Bhagavan. Okay, start step by step. The first one is wherever there is karma phala, wherever there is karma phala, that karma phala should have karta. Karma phala should have karta means what? Karta should have done some karma because of which only he is getting that karma phala. See, although this looks very obvious, but sometimes there is a thought, either in us or we might hear from others, that whatever karma phalas we are getting, it is all random. There is no reason to trace back or have this idea that karma alone is coming as karma phala. They are just coming, this whole creation is running in that way. There is one nyaya called as ardhajari nyaya. Ardhajari nyaya means a hen is there. They say half part of the hen is getting cooked and half part of the hen is laying eggs also. Where does this nyaya apply? They say for Charvak Darshan. So Charvak Darshan doesn't accept this apurva, karma siddhanta, karma phala and so on. They say even in your own darshana, in part you accept karma siddhanta. Means what? They say if you want success in life, you have to work hard. Karma phala is success, working hard is karma. So there you accept that wherever there is karma phala, there has to be karta, there has to be karma. You cannot say, I want to be successful, wait, if it is random, let it happen, let it come if it has to come. We say, no, there we accept karma phala. There we accept karta, we accept karma. But when it comes to other experiences, which we ourselves cannot trace back, right? Which karma might have led to which. They say, how come you say that part is random? Either you say everything is random, or you say everything is having this relation between karta and karma phala. This is called as ardhajari nyaya. You cannot say half part of the hen is giving eggs, another part is getting cooked. Just take the right part of this example. There is you don't have to stretch it too far. So that is the first relation. Even in Charvak Darshana, they accept karma siddhanta. If I am feeling full right now, karma phala is there that I am full. Now, what is the karma that precedes it? I must have eaten to feel full. Right? Some karma has been done which is leading to that karma phala. For Charvak Darshan, they even go one step ahead. They say you work hard, right? At the end of the month, they are giving whatever remuneration has to be given. So karma phala you accept there. If you are getting that karma phala, it has to be preceded by karma. If you say everything is random, karma phala can come without any karma, then try to stop all these karmas. Stop going to work, stop eating, stop working hard, which karma the Charvak Darshan accepts very, very carefully. They say stop doing those karmas and wait for random karma phala to come. So if that is not possible, then here also we should say that whatever karma phalas are coming, first they should have a karta who has done some karma, which alone is appearing as karma phala. This is the first step. Before we go into any other discussion, establish the connection between karma phala and karta. Once that is done, the question is about this in-between part. Karma was done at some point, in some place. How did that karma find its way to that particular karta later as karma phala? So this is where we say we need karma phala data, who is Ishvara. Karma phala data is needed because he is Sarvajna. So he knows which karma was done at what point, at which place it was done. And there are some karmas which have a specific result, which we ourselves can't figure out. Like they say, if you are doing danam when there is a newborn child, there is some samskara, jata karma samskara. During that time, if you do danam, the result of that danam is 100-fold. That's why Vasudevji, when Bhagwan Krishna is born, mentally he gives 1,000 cows because he cannot give at that point, right? So danam he does of 1,000 cows when Bhagwan Krishna is born. So there are certain effects of desha, certain effects of kala. Because all of that Jiva cannot decide, Jiva cannot know. It has to be known by Bhagwan only. Japa done in morning, japa done in afternoon, japa done at night. We ourselves feel, right, there is a difference. Means kala prabhava is there on karma. So that prabhava is known by Bhagwan. It is not known by another individual. Okay. But the whole part is, this is not another, intellectual discussion. It is something which should give us a lot of strength. So this part, if you go back to Kishkinda Kanda, the Karma Siddhanta, whatever we discussed, in the dialogue between Bhagwan Rama and Sugriva, the echo of whatever was said in Bhashya, application you will see here. What does Bhagwan say? Sakha socha tyagahu balamore. Sababidhi ghataba kaj mein thore. Means, oh Sugriva, whatever karma you had to do, you have done. You fought from your side. Then you came and surrendered unto me. You know that friendship, right? Agni is kept as Sakshi. Hanumanji forges a friendship between Sugriva and Bhagwan Rama. He says, after this, you leave everything to me. Why? Because karma phaladata is me. I will take care of everything. See, that is the part, Karmani eva adhikara part. The most difficult part is to let go of karma after doing it. Whatever we say, the anxiety part that comes in our life. Now, if I have not done anything, Bhagwan says, start first. Na karmanam anarambhat naishkarmyam purushoshnate. Nacha sanyasana deva. Chick study group, we saw this. Whole class I spent just on this one verse. That if you are not starting anything, Bhagwan says by that we are not going to get naishkarmya. Forget about naishkarmya. Even worldly routine is not able to be maintained. But after we have done our part, this chaupai should become the guiding force in our life. Sakha socha tyagahu. Leave aside all your worries and anxieties. I will accomplish your work. Sababidhi ghataba. In all ways I will accomplish. You just surrender unto me. But Sugriva says, this line is beautiful. Kaha Sugriva sunaho Raghuvira. Bhagwan, you listen. Bali mahabala atiranadhira. This Bali is very, very strong. You don't know what is Bali's strength. He says, I will give you a test. Dundubi asti tala dekharaye binu prayasa raghunatha Dahaye. He says, Dundubi's carcass is there. Please go and clear this off. Then only I will get strength in your strength. Means I will get conviction in your strength only when you do something extraordinary. You see, in that cycle, what we saw, right? Different steps of bhakti. One step was Vishwasa. It was preceded by Prabhuta Jnanam, knowing the power of the Lord. So that is something which a sadhaka should keep doing. Whenever things look so difficult, we should see whether Bhagwan is powerful enough to solve those things. Just like Sugriva took test of Bhagwan, like that sadhaka also takes Bhagwan's test in a sweet way, not out of arrogance or anything. He does it in a way that his Vishwasa should increase in Bhagwan. Deki Amita Bala Badhi Priti. Bhagwan just clears in play all that carcass. Looking at his strength, what arises? Prema arises in his heart. Bali Badhava in a bhai paratiti. Whatever has to happen to Vali, in that he is getting a lot of strength in Bhagwan's strength now. He's getting conviction in Bhagwan's strength. Now he surrenders unto Bhagwan. Druda bhakti has come. Bara bara navai padasisa. Prabhu hi jani mana harasha kapisa. Very happy. Mind is cheerful. Now he says, Upaja jnana bachana taba bola. Now this jnana is not Brahma jnana. Upaja jnana is said, right? That jnana is not Jiva Brahma Ikya jnana. This jnana is only Prabhuta jnana. That if Jiva has done his karma well, Bhagwan is all powerful and capable of giving the result and giving much more than what Jiva has done. In Bhagwan's power, he has this conviction. Nata krupa mana bhayav alola. This is the main point of this whole prasanga. That Bhagwan, with your krupa, my mind has become stable. Alola means, lolanam means to go from one end to another. Anxiety, what it does to us is lolanam. Bhagwan, by your grace, my mind has found that kind of support. So this is the applied side of the bhashya that we are reading, and we should constantly keep reflecting. In fact, it is one mananam. Whatever you are seeing in this bhashya, right? Whatever you have studied in Bhagavatam, Ramcharitmanas, try to find parallels where you can see these reflections in those granthas. They are already there. We just have to go and find it. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.